So we have in front of us here the model of the larynx. In front, this of course is very much magnified to produce the effect that we require. We have also the model of the head and neck to help us appreciate the external extrinsic muscles of the larynx. And I have also a model of if we look at the larynx, the enlarged model here, or we may look at this one here, which both are quite the same. The hyoid bone is at the rim, okay? It's at the top like a cap, and then at the bottom, the bone that you have, which we mentioned in the lecture, is the cricoid cartilage. So you have three bones that make up the structure of the larynx. The hyoid bone, rather three pieces. The hyoid bone, which is bony. The thyroid cartilage, which is this V-shaped structure. Okay? And the cricoid cartilage. The cricoid cartilage is shaped like a ring, which is bigger on one side, and it was called a signet ring because this was the used to sign for papers in the olden days. When there were no pens, the king would have the front symbol of the ring have his symbol, and then he would simply fuatika or stamp on it. So here what we're saying is that we have the hyoid bone in the center. The middle piece is the thyroid cartilage, which is V-shaped, and at the bottom we have the cricoid cartilage. Okay? A little bit at the back, which is not seen very well, is another important piece that sits on top of the cricoid cartilage. This is a triangular piece called the arytenoid cartilage. So the arytenoid cartilage here has two additional small pieces which are assisted. Okay? The arytenoid cartilage has the corniculate cartilage on top and the cuneiform cartilage. These pieces have not been specifically identified here. But what is important is that there are three pieces of cartilage that make up the larynx. The epiglottis on top, which is hyaline elastic cartilage, which is this piece which kind of covers the rim like a cap. And then we have the V-shaped thyroid cartilage here in the middle, the ring-shaped cricoid cartilage at the back. Okay, so these are the three outer pieces of cartilage. Okay, the rim, as we said, is the hyoid bone, right? And then there are three little pieces inside which are not defined in this model, and those are the arytenoid cartilage, which is the biggest piece, the corniculate cartilage, which is the second biggest piece, and the cuneiform cartilage. Okay, on this model we cannot see those pieces of cartilage. Right, let's start with the hyoid cartilage, which is the rim. The hyoid cartilage is C-shaped. It has a body, which is this in the middle, and if you turn it around like this, it has a horn, like the way a rhino has a horn, but it has two horns. It's got this, which is called the greater horn, and this little piece, which is the lesser horn. So if you look at it again here, it has a mid piece, which is the body, the lesser horn here, this little piece, and the greater horn. It's actually the only bone which is free or suspended. It's suspended by the muscles of the floor of the mouth here and the muscles of the larynx or the muscles of the neck down below. Okay, so that's the bony structure of the larynx. You can see that it is surrounded by the thyroid gland. This is obviously a largely magnified thyroid gland, or thyroid larynx, sorry. And this is how it would normally really look. And remember that we said that this V-shaped prominence here is very prominent in men because their voice box is bigger, and this makes their voice louder. So the laryngeal prominence here can be seen and is commonly called Adam's apple. You can see better on this, the cricoid cartilage, which is this little piece here, and the body of the thyroid cartilage, its superior horn and its inferior horn, which is attached to the cricoid cartilage below here. If you go around the back again, our three little bones are not seen here, but you can see the epiglottis, which is the cover. That's why parents say don't talk when you're eating, because this cover opens up in speech. Okay? And we can see the hyoid bone with the middle piece, which is the body, the lesser horn, and the greater horn. Okay, so we can talk about the ligaments that join these pieces. There are three ligaments that join these three pieces together, which are named according to their attachment. We could start with this piece here. There's the thyrohyoid ligament, which is the largest, holding the thyroid cartilage to the hyoid. There's the cricothyroid ligament, the yellow piece here, not really shown. And thirdly, the aryepiglottic. So it's going from the epiglottis here and running to the arytenoid cartilage, which is not really shown, the aryepiglottic fold. So they're the aryepiglottic membrane. So there are at least those three membranes. When it comes to the muscles, there are at least three extrinsic muscles and about 6 intrinsic muscles. The extrinsic muscles are outside the larynx. The intrinsic muscles are on the inside of the larynx. Okay? Like we said in the theory lecture, the extrinsic muscles are like the bass of a guitar where the strings attach. So on this model, we'll be able to see the extrinsic muscles. Okay, they are three. The longest one runs from the sternum to the hyoid bone. So it's called the sternohyoid, going all the way. There's a change in color here, so you can't see it very well. But it goes all the way from the sternum here up to the hyoid. This is called the sternohyoid. Next to it, if we were to flip this muscle, we would see another muscle going from the sternum to the thyroid, just where it ends here. This is called the sternothyroid muscle. And then below that, we have the cricothyroid muscle. Okay, so the cricothyroid muscle, not fully shown, coming from the cricoid to the thyroid, the cricothyroid muscle. So these are the three extrinsic muscles. And when we look at intrinsic muscles, this is the cricothyroid muscle. Part of it is shown. Okay. This is the only muscle that is supplied by the superior laryngeal nerve. All the rest of the muscles are supplied by the recurrent laryngeal nerve. Okay. So if we go a little bit back here, we will see some, not all, but some of the extrinsic muscles. There are two related to each of these structures. The epiglottis has two, the arytenoid cartilage has two, the cricoid cartilage has two. And each of these two, one is attached posteriorly. For example, there's the aryepiglottic muscle, the aryepiglottis muscle, and the thyroepiglottic muscle in front. Okay. Here at the back, here around the arytenoid muscle, we have the thyroarytenoid muscle, which is anterior, and the posterior arytenoid muscle. There's one which is oblique and one which is transverse. And then for the cricoid, you have the cricothyroid muscle anteriorly and the posterior cricothyroid muscle at the back here. So these are the two sets of muscles. They are not very clearly shown on the model, but in summary, again, there are 3 sets or 6 intrinsic muscles and 3 extrinsic muscles. When we open, so we'd ask the question, what are the contents of the larynx? Okay, we can open the larynx. You will see that it has 2 strings within it. Okay, so here we have on the side, for example, this is showing us just the epiglottis, which is attached anteriorly to the thyroid cartilage. This type of cartilage is called elastic cartilage. But in the center, you have these strings. The one in front is the false vocal cord, and its purpose is to protect the true vocal cord. And we will see when we do the histology that the epithelium of this is different from the epithelium of that because it acts like a string. The space in between here is the vestibule, and the space between the two is called the rima glottidis, the space between the two. Okay, so you can see that the attachment is between the thyroid cartilage anteriorly and the arytenoid cartilage posteriorly. This is the cricoid cartilage, the posterior and the anterior piece. This is the lowermost part. So the strings are attached like 2 pieces in the center. The upper piece is the false, the lower piece is the true, and these vibrate as air passes in and out, and this generates sound. So essentially that is the demo practical, and you will find the practical sheet, and you can work through the results. You can look through the video again to identify and label these structures. Thank you.